So welcome everybody. We're just in the middle of our weekly network support crew call, and this week we're really excited about hearing from Sarah what she experienced in the US summer camp, which just came to an end. Was it last week, Sarah?
Yeah, it ran
Yeah,
the 17th to 21st of July.
the 21st. So it's fresh in your mind and your heart and your being.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we thought let's record it because probably other people want to hear how it went as well. So we also have Rich, Geet, and Jonas here. And yeah, guys, if you have a question, feel free to just jump in and ask. But yeah, maybe I got asked a question recently about what's something that you experienced that you expected and something unexpected, particularly like that you expected to appreciate and find like nourishing, and something that was surprising.
Hmm. Yeah, I think both both of those things happened. Things that were expected. Well, we had what we felt was a good idea that we adopted from the way the Denver gathering was run, which was we asked participants to fill out these field guides. And these were just like little Google slides where they shared some information about themselves, like what community they were coming from or what their project was, something about their motivations in life and coming to the gathering. And that really helped Ewan and I know who was going to show up. And I think for everyone to know who was kind of like in the room with them. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that was really sweet to have this like early getting to know each other kind of out of the way, and help people move through this awkward, like the inevitable awkward getting to know each other phase,
Mm-hmm.
which still kind of happened. But I felt like the group got through it and that helped. Mm. And a lot of sweet moments. There were a lot of sweet moments. We went out on the land and on day one and day two, and we built a beaver dam analog together, which was a thing that I knew we were going to do, but how people engaged with it was kind of unexpected. There's an unexpected layer of like enthusiasm and excitement as we all kind of took on this role of like playing in the creek and building this beaver dam together.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's always things like that of just like watching people get into the activity, that lit me up.
Beautiful. I'm curious then, because one of the aspects of the summer camp, like your intention, because each summer camp has a little bit of often has its unique angle, and Ewan's curiosity was how do we relate to the more than human beings in our community, like, and that was one of the ways that you imagined like playing with that. Yeah, how did that go?
I would love to hear from people how they think that went. I have one perspective, which is that I think that we definitely invited people to get out onto the land and maybe start to have that kind of experience. Yeah, the framing was an exploration of belonging with more than human beings. And so when we had crews for this micro solidarity event, which is kind of a classic event design for any micro solidarity event, but for our crews, we had people crewing with the maple tree or with the sheep herd or with the creek. And um, that was part of the invitation to see like what will happen, what is made possible. We didn't know. We haven't done that before, but we thought let's all try it and see what we might learn together. Um, so I it's something I'm still curious about, like really how that landed. Um, but I think that my takeaway at this point with what I witnessed is that like the group together really experienced something and that was supported by engagement with the land.
Mm-hmm.
When we went out on the walks, when we built the beaver dam, when we did sit spots, like all of those were shared experiences that then the group was able to use to connect with one another on, I think, like more genuine levels.
Yeah. So it was like I remember that from last summer camp there as well, that you had a lot of like things that you were doing together, and through that having something concrete to do together, you explored how you were being together through that like containment. Is that it?
Yeah, and I think it's something about being invited into engaging with people in different ways you know, it's
Mm-hmm.
not just sitting in a room talking with each other, but when you're having to figure out how to turn sticks and mud into something that resembles a beaver dam, you're seeing the problem solving, you're seeing the creativity and innovation, you're seeing like how someone responds to doing a hard physical task. Like, we're
Mm-hmm.
getting tired, are we irritated? Like, some sarcasm comes out, like maybe we're taking little jabs at each other because of the situation that we're in.
Yeah.
So like all these different parts of relating come up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that
Mm-hmm.
on like, you know, day two, like pretty early on.
Yeah. Wow. Nice. And how many days were you there together? You had like a week. You said 17th to 21st, something like that.
It was kind of 3 full days with a day of arrival and departure on either end.
Cool. And by the end, because you just said to us before we started this conversation, like that you felt you had like on a personal level also a level up. And I guess in your role as host together with Iwan, I would just love to hear like how do you feel like you personally grew as a host and in that leadership position?
Hmm. Yeah, this is sweet for me to be asked to share. My involvement in the camp last year was lighter. It was different. This year I found more opportunity to really design it more and offer more of my ideas and visions to the group. And I got really sweet feedback from a couple individuals after you know, kind of like the opening circle and one of the open space setting sessions. Really positive feedback from a couple people who the thing that really landed with me that they shared with me was that they felt I was facilitating in a way that was really genuine to myself. And like that
Mm-hmm.
was so nice to hear because the way I heard it was just like, hey Sarah, it's cool when you bring yourself and your full personality, and like having that feel sweet to someone.
Mm.
I think that that's what makes me feel like I leveled up, because I was probably going into it kind of with uncertainty or not as much confidence around like, if I bring my whole self, how is that going to be perceived? Or yeah, like, are people going to like it? Is like the basic form
Yeah.
of what I was unsure about. So to have people feel supported by my facilitation and feel invited to bring themselves was probably the best compliment. Mm-hmm.
So lovely to hear. Yeah, I think Jonas has a question for you on that one. Do you want to share, Jonas?
Yeah, I'm super excited to hear that like something got unlocked there where you could just like be natural and follow your intuition for what's needed, and like people receiving that were like, ah, cool, you're just doing your thing. That's awesome. And I wonder what like if it's easy for you to pinpoint what made that possible for you. Like, can you say something about the circumstances or maybe the attitude with which you showed up or what you paid attention to so that you were able to show up like that?
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Also a great question that I'm really excited to answer, because the answer is about this thing that Rich calls developmental context. It's about crews. I found my crew. My crew are my landmates at Elkenmist. And going into the event, I was bouncing all my ideas off of like 5 or 6 people. I
Mm.
was coordinating with folks there who were going to hold some part or lead some part of the event. And in that way, I think I managed to not create the Sarah show, which would have been a worse thing for people to be invited into. I created this more layered thing that invited a lot of different perspectives from the people I had involved in my collaboration. Also, Jesse and Deb, who came from the network, and we had calls earlier on Zoom. And so I'm bouncing ideas off of them and layering their feedback as well. And so the
Mm.
answer to that is having a good developmental context. This group as well, the network support crew, you know, we were on a call the morning of camp, and I'm like, hey, y'all, can y'all give me support? And y'all are just giving me support. You know, there's something behind that of like figuring out how to ask for what we need and giving people the opportunity to give us what we need. That's part of a good developmental context, right? So with all that together, like I felt like I had what I needed to just
Mm.
show up and do the thing. I'd been given so much support that it was like, all right, I'm going to do this, and like it will land or it won't, but either way I'm going to be okay because I have my people.
Super sweet. Yeah. And also, I guess you'd done it with Iwan already last year. Was it easier this year? Because you kind of, I was just curious how that evolved, that you did this for the second time together.
Working with Iwan is such a joy. We are so different. And yeah, we like think about things differently, and we somehow work together. And that's been really sweet. It was a lot different this year because I've been living at Elkenmist for 6 months now. And so we had a whole bunch more lead up time where we could really think about where on the land we wanted to do certain things. And, you know, we were out there mowing, like preparing sites and this kind of thing that just like wasn't possible last year logistically in the same way. So yeah, that was really good. You know, there was an ease between Iwan and I, and Iwan shared with me that it also ran smoother. You know, there's like more anxiety last year about like what's gonna happen. But running it for a second year, we felt like we had more of a handle on things.
Awesome. So it's like this build. It sounds like a build up of like having people who have your back, but also a build up of knowledge of the land that's also supportive, is what I'm hearing. It strikes me also as a thing when you're building a camp, especially. Yeah, like space as another context and vector to consider and be familiar with. Thanks, Sarah. I just wonder, Rich Guy, do you have any other questions before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I just want to hear a little about what do you think, what are some good things that happened from the perspective of the participants?
I think that people showed up not totally knowing what was going to happen, and they got invited into a nice, interesting space filled with people that they got the chance to know over 3 days in various activities. And my hope, my sense is that that we achieved some part of what we set out to do, which is invite people into an experience through which they get to know people in a facilitated way that supports like a depth into vulnerability with other people and like a deep knowing, such that they'll find one or more people that they have some kind of lasting connection with. So when Iwan and I debriefed, we really feel like, you know, we're looking at the faces in the photos and we're like, those people are probably gonna at least catch up sometime. So I think that people met someone that they'll want to do something with. And that's great for me.
Nice. Guy, is there anything else you want to ask or bring in? You're good. Nice. Well, thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I'm in the network call tomorrow. I'm hoping that you can be there as well, or Iwan at least, and can share some more. And I'm sure people will have more curiosity and questions about it. And for those of you listening who are like, damn, I missed the US summer camp, but there's still one in the EU happening. So we're doing one in near Vienna at the end of August, 29th of August till the 4th of September. And that one's hosted by Sarah, other Sarah. Sarahs are great at hosting summer camps, it seems. And Alex and Miriam. Oh no, I'm worried I've forgotten people. It's just off the top of my head.
Jesse.
And Jesse, of course. Jesse was also helping host the US summer camp and was present there. Yeah, and that's still an opportunity to join there as well. And we're talking about that on the call tomorrow too. I think that's all. Thanks for sharing something, Sarah. And yeah, just amazing that you guys pulled it off. Sounds like it was a blast. Yeah.
Thank you.